Hey everybody, it's Tracy from Downward Dog Rising. It's been a long day and I contemplated whether or not I should film, and then I just figured, yes, I'm gonna film really fast, little bit, because I end every day of my life with a workout, and I don't care how tired I am, I don't care how long my day has been. I always end with yoga and Pilates and breathing, and it resets me to start my new day the next day. So with that being said, I'm going to give you a stretch for your hips because I feel my hips are super tight. And I was contemplating on something tonight, and the fact that I can't run, that it's been raining and Northern California, there's been heavy rain. I can't do my normal runs. I've done one run in 2 weeks, and I was thinking how, like, it makes you just feel this, like you're a bear and you're angst inside, you want to growl at everyone. But I was thinking how I never do that to anybody outside of myself, the way that I feel, because I can't go for a run. I would never in a million years dream of taking that out on someone else. So my message to you today is have compassion for another human being that can't separate how they feel emotionally from the inside, and they can't separate how they treat others around them. And I'm sure you've witnessed this. I'm sure you've been around someone who acts so irrational and so horrible to others around them because they're totally clueless from within themselves. And this message is to just stay centered, stay grounded. And if anyone treats you like that, you know your center, and you know that you don't deserve to be treated that way, so it doesn't affect you. Meanwhile, it makes you feel compassion for someone who is unaware. They have no self-reflection ability. So it's very important that you realize the difference so that it doesn't wreak havoc on you emotionally, and you're free from whatever BS anyone else wants to put on you. So with that being said, let's start a stretch. And when I don't run, it's funny. When I run, my hips get tight. When I don't run, my hips get tight. So what is my moral of the story? Whatever you do, you should stretch. You should work out. It doesn't matter what happens in your daily life. You should never let it interfere with your daily grind, your daily workout, what you owe to yourself, what you deserve. Every day, pull out your mat. Get on it. 5 minutes, I don't care. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. It really doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is you pull this out, you set it down, and then you do something. And that's it. That's all you have to do is just get on it and do something. Chances are if you do something, that something leads to something longer and something else. So let's begin. This really isn't a workout. This is going to be a couple of yoga stretches. My main focus is to get into the hips, and I get really stiff when it rains. I get stiff if I don't run, and I'm stiff if I do run. The magic happens when I choose to sit on this mat and stretch. So we're going to do single leg shoelace, each leg. Then we'll do shoelace, both legs, and then we're going to do a fire log. And that's going to be a really deep hip opener. Okay, single leg shoelace. Stretch your legs in front. And then take one knee. Maybe I'll turn sideways. I like light. Putting the light in front so you can see it. And if you can't see it, I'll put it behind me. All right. There it is. All right, single leg shoelace. Take your knee, bend it, cross it in front of the other, If you feel like the bottom leg is locking out, you would stick a little pillow, a folded up yoga blanket under it. You could, if you don't have anything, you would take both hands, rest your hands under the knee for extra support so the knee doesn't feel like it hyperextends. And then from there you would elongate upwards through spine to top of head. And then you would slowly do a hip hinge forward. And then you would just stay there and breathe. Hip hinge forward. Let's get into those lateral hip muscles. We have 3 glutes. We have glute max, and then we have glute medius, glute minimus. And we want to get into the medius and the minimus. And as you feel your spine release, you come a little bit more forward. Just want you to be conscious of not going like this, where you just hyper and you round. Think of sternum, breastbone forward, hinge from hip, and then come over the legs. Stay here. Flex your foot. And breathe. Our hips hold a lot of hidden emotions. We could have trauma in our hips. So it is important to release tension muscularly out of them and use the breath. The exhales help release tension, toxins. Once you release a little more, you can always reach to your foot, hip hinge, and breathe. Just release anything, any tension, any stress, any negativity, just let it go. Breastbone long. Exhale, release. One more time. Deep inhale. Rising up. Fold other knee. Your knee is going to go right over that opposite knee. Want you to root down into bottom of pelvis, into your sits bones. Rise up to top of head. Maybe you'll take your hands under the knee for extra support so you don't hyperextend that knee joint. Head is going to lengthen away from tailbone, little hip hinge forward, and breathe. Being careful not to round from the middle back. Keep the breastbone long, sternum lengthens, knee to sky, toes can flex, working lower part of leg even deeper. Stay here and breathe. Soften into the breath. Release any tension. We have layers and layers and layers of emotions in our muscles and our subtle bodies. Use the exhale to release. Free. Release. Exhalation. Inhale, bring in positive energy. Bring in the new. Exhale whatever doesn't serve you, any negativity. You can go deeper. You're going to reach a little further. Pull forward. Lengthen breastbone, hip hinge. Single leg shoelace. Hip hinge forward. And slowly rise up. And tonight, I'm choosing shoelace and I'm choosing fire log, Agni Stumbasana, because they're my least favorite poses to do in yoga. And because they're my least favorite, I don't like doing them, but I know that I need them the most. So tonight, with gratitude, I take myself into those things that I really do not want to do because they hurt and I don't enjoy them. I'm not good at them, so I try to not do them, but those are the things that help us the most. Okay, here comes shoelace. You would fold one knee. We have to do this on each side, and you're going to get into your lateral hips. Fold one knee in, and you're going to fold the other knee on top of it. Ideally, our knees align, and we have equal weight through each sits bone. But like me, you may find out your pelvis is unlevel, your knees are way up in the air, your hips, your glutes are super tight, and it is what it is. I'm going to face you. One knee folds in, and I'm going to try to keep knees and ankles aligned so one doesn't pull way back towards me and the other one way far away. And then by lifting up into the air, it kind of pushes my sits bones. It makes my pelvis root down into the mat deeper. So I'm just elongating up. Breathing in, I'm grading it. I'm meeting it head on. No matter how horrible it is, I'm meeting it head on. And then I just bring the arms down, and I'm just going to stay here for a moment. And then, believe it or not, it's going to help you flex, heel, create spaciousness in those hip sockets by flexing the heels. And just breathe. One day I hope to get released so my thighs just are flat and I can just hip hinge forward and be flat down on the mat. That's the goal. Breathing in, breathing out. And like right now it's like there's two pressure points, like a pressure cleaner hose is like spraying right in that spot, right there and right there. That's what it kind of feels like. Breathe into it, let it release. If you need to come out of it, please do so. Like if it's too painful, you just can't take it, ease out. I'm not asking you to go beyond that. Just meet your limit, take it in, breathe into it, let it go. When you feel a release, give a little more into it. Ow! I feel that. You probably do too. One more deep inhale here. It really burns, by the way. Slowly come up. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's switch. Other leg goes on bottom. Draw that knee on top. I just had a hip pop, little release. Sink down into the bottom of your pelvis. Take arms into air. And just take a deep inhale. Try to settle in. Maybe you'll feel I'm different on this side than the other. Maybe that happens to you. Maybe it already happened. Try to settle into the bottom of your sits bones, to the bottom of your pelvis. Arms reach and lengthen. Head lengthens away from tailbone. And just try to stretch forward a little tiny bit. And breathe. Most importantly, just keep on breathing through the tightness. Right there, I caught myself. My foot wasn't flexed. By flexing your ankles, you actually provide a little bit more protection and support for your hip joints as well as your knee joints. So if possible, try to flex those ankles. There's a kinetic chain, and we're just trying to honor that kinetic chain in our bodies. Sometimes we're too tight, we have to ease back out because it's too intense, and that's totally fine too. Stretch up through top of head, lengthen your spine, little hip hinge forward, and breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. And if you're a runner, in the long run, this will help you in your runs. Believe it. One more deep inhale here. And slowly make your way out. Woo. Okay. Knees together. Ankles side by side. Hands come by sides. And we're going to just do a little windshield wiper. So you just sway hips, knees side to side. And then you're rolling right across the side horizontal fibers of your glutes. And then that kind of feels good as well. 4 and 3 and 2. Last one. Okay. So as I said, single leg shoelace. Shoelace. Now, here comes fire log. Agnistumbasana, and this one is definitely not my favorite, and I won't say anything beyond that. It's not my favorite. I'm gonna stay right there. All right, so what do? You're gonna fold knee in line with ankle. I want you to flex your foot to give yourself optimal support through your hips, through your pelvis, knees, ankles. So once you have one foot parallel, knee, ankle in front, fold the other side. And when you've been doing yoga for a long time, your knees fall flat, your hips are stable, everything settles in. And if you're a runner, don't worry. You'll look like me where your hips are tight. When we run, our hip flexors get super tight. And then our hamstrings can get tight. But we're used to doing forward motion. We're not used to like opening our hips sideways. So that's why it hurts a lot to go this direction horizontally. Flex foot, settle in, and just stay here and breathe. I'm going to instruct you to rise up. The more that you can lift up, the more you lift yourself up out of your pelvis, sink your hip bones into the mat, the greater the release will be, where your hips just fall down into the mat, and just stay here and breathe. Try to bring your focus from without to within. Inhale, bring the breath in. Feel it enter, feel it go down. Expansion, width. And then it goes right back out, taking out the toxins and the impurities. Just stay here and breathe. You have to meet it head on. When you meet it head on, You can notice I've already released. Things are dropping down, settling in. I'm not forcing anything. I'm not pushing. I'm just releasing with the breath. Just stay here and breathe. Let it happen naturally. Forget about the tension by breathing in and releasing. Forget about how tense it feels. Bring the oxygen-rich blood into those cells, into your muscles, and just release. Exhale. Breathing in. And you'll notice how the knees keep dropping. Without force. Once you feel the knees dropping, you root down into each sits bone equally. You rise up. Okay, without rounding your back, the crease from the front of the femur bone, your thigh bone, into the hip socket, that's where you start to bend from. And then you try to come forward a little bit. And that's my point, right about there. See where you can come to. Stay here and breathe. We still have one more side to hit. So, today's focus is hip opener. Hip opening release. Breathe. Maybe if the rain stops tomorrow, then my hips will be released so I can go have a nice run. Deep inhale, deep exhale. One more time. Make your way in. Release. Hip opener again. Just do a couple little windshield wipers, and I'll give you another hip opener. Bring your feet hip distance apart. Open your collarbones. Press from armpits to palms. And you're just going to lift straight up. Engage your glutes. Press hips to side. Your glutes are working. Your core is strong, tightening into spine. And 5, breathe in, breathe out. And 4, knees draw in line with hip sockets. 3, and 2, last one. All right, switch sides. So whichever side, I had the left foot up last time. Correction, right leg was up. Right leg goes to bottom. Fold the knee. Flex your feet. Sink into sits bones so your feet are flexed, those ankles are open. It opens your hip sockets. You stretch sides of waist long, sink into the bottom of your pelvis, and you rise up to the top of your head. You breathe in, stretch, open, exhale, hands come down. We're going to stay like this for a few breaths because we want to naturally let that leg release and fall. Breathing in, lengthen up, exhale. I like the song happened right at this moment, breathing in, using that meditational quality of the breath, the awareness, exhale. 2 more times, breathing in, sink into the bottom of your pelvis, ribs expand laterally, breath goes to the bottom lobes of the lungs. 1 more time. Breathing in and breathing out. Now stay here. We're in our fire log, Agni Stumbasana. Breathe. Even if it's uncomfortable, inward, focus, send the breath into those places of discomfort. Meet it head on. The mind is so powerful. When the body shows resistance, focus on that area and just let the mind meet that resistance. Use the breath and then you just let it go. Lengthening up, maybe increase the stretch by hinging from hip socket, avoid rounding spine, gently stretch over thighs, hinging from hip socket. Breathe. Even if your hips are screaming, just breathe. Keep going. Breathe in. You're almost there. Breathe out. Even if they're screaming, breathe in. Conquer the mind's resistance. Breathe out. Breathing in. Let the hips release. Exhale. One more time. Deep inhale. Exhale. Slowly you're going to rise up. Woo! Release. This time, take both legs straight. Core tightens into low back. Breastbone lifts, string lifts breastbone up to sky. Palms press floor away. And you're just going to lift up, reverse plank, and hold. Release. Lift pelvis, hips to sky, tighten core in, just reversing the stretch. Gently come back in. Okay, we're going to end with a little Buddha Konasana. Sole of foot rotates up, sole of foot rotates up. I'm not going to push the legs down. I'm going to sink into the bottom of the hips. I'm going to lift up and little hip hinge forward. And just stay here and breathe. You want to feel equal weight through your pelvis. You're not leaning too far to one side or the other. Rooting down, turning those femur, thigh bones rotate externally inside hip sockets. Sink into the bottom of your pelvis, the sits bones, and then you hip hinge forward. And just breathe for a few counts. Stay here. A little further if you can. Breathing in, breathing out. So today's focus was just getting into those hips, getting them to release. Breathing in. Stretch sternum, breastbone forward, elongate head away from tailbone. One more deep inhale here. Slowly walk it in. Knees come together. All right. Take one leg in. Sole of foot to groin. arms lift to sky. Single leg, we're going to do a little forward fold. Stretch sternum, breastbone forward through. Hip hinge. Breathing in, we're going to do just 3 breaths here. Breathing in. Exhale. Keep the length in your spine. Breathing in. And exhale. One more time, breathing in. Get those hamstrings to lengthen. Exhale, slowly come back. Okay, fold that leg in. Take the other leg out. Sole of foot reaches towards groin. Rising up, flex your other foot. Elongate, hip hinge, spine is long. Reach for the foot. Mid breastbone over center of quad, center of thigh, and hip hinge over that leg. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. Breathing in, head away from tailbone. Full expansion of lungs, rib cage expands. Exhale, release. 2 more times. Exhale, release. And 1 more time. Breathing in. Exhale, release. Rising up. All right, good job, everybody. Now, cross your ankles, Sukhasana. Okay, whatever side you usually cross your ankles in, stop right there. I always do right leg over left. Okay, so now whatever side you just had crossed, do the other just to reverse it, just to do something different. Arms come up together. And then we're going to just fold one arm. Elongate our entire side. Take a breath here. Keep your sits bone on mat so your pelvis is grounded and stable. Just stay here and breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. Stay here. We want to feel the stretch to this whole side. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Open up ribs out of hip. One more deep inhale here. Rising up. I like my light. Where can you see it? Okay, it's right there. Right there. Now we're going to lift up. Sits bones reach down. We want this whole side to open. Making sure the hip doesn't go up with us. And stretch to the side. And really feel the space open up. Breathing in. Breathing out. You're rooted into the bottom of the hips. Grounding yourself into earth energy. Muladhara, root chakra, color red. Breathing in, breathing out. One day I'll do a whole chakra series on all the colors, lining up our chakra in our spine. Ending with crown chakra, connecting us to universal force. Grounded, going into the universe. Breathe in, breathing out, rising back up. And I thank you for joining me. I hope your hips feel more released. You could see at the beginning my knees were like way up there. So doing these stretches will really help release your hips. When you release your hips, you release the hip flexors. Your hamstrings feel better as well as your low back. So it all is interconnected. Palms come together in Anjali Mudra. Bring hands to heart center. Feeling blessed, feeling grateful, feeling at peace for taking this time to work on ourselves, just to feel a little more grounded, balanced, and energetically peaceful. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you for joining me. If you like my channel, please hit like or subscribe to help me grow, and I truly have gratitude for you when you do that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Peace, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Hope this helped. Bye. Bye. Take care. See you soon.